If you're new to a mindfulness practice, understanding what mindfulness really is can be kind of confusing. You may have heard about the benefits of mindfulness practice from someone in your life and really want to make it a part of your own. In this video, you'll learn that mindfulness is one of the building blocks of many skills, including DBT or dialectical behavior therapy skills, and can be really helpful if you're trying to promote more self-care in your life. You might be surprised to find out that mindfulness actually goes beyond the mindfulness meditations that we hear about. You might find them on YouTube or have heard other people talk about them. And you can actually integrate a mindfulness practice into every moment of your everyday life. But besides being trendy, what are the benefits of mindfulness? Research into mindfulness and mindfulness meditation has been going on for quite some time now. And the American Psychological Association has actually gotten behind mindfulness and mindfulness-based therapies as a way of helping people deal with a whole range of clinical issues. Studies have found that mindfulness has actually increased positive affect and mood, as well as decreasing anxiety and stress. That all sounds pretty good. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the basics of mindfulness, the how and the what skills. And let me say, mindfulness is a big topic and we're just going to be chipping the surface. Stay tuned to the end of the video where I'm going to share some of my favorite mindfulness meditations for beginners. My name is Meredith McKenzie and I'm the owner and a registered clinical counselor at Parallel Wellness. On this channel, we explore topics that bring clients to our therapy practice every day. You'll find tips and strategies that you can make your own to enhance your everyday life and manage your mental wellness. So subscribe to the channel and hit the bell in the corner so you're notified when we post new videos. We publish every Wednesday. In last week's video, I proposed some ideas for how to start your self-care journey. If you haven't seen that video yet, pause here and go watch that video now. In preparation for this week's video, I got to thinking, what is really important when you're considering self-care? And everything came back to mindfulness. And I figured rather than jumping into more self-care topics, where I think mindfulness is a self-care topic, I wanted to get back to the basics and start with one of the most fundamental building blocks of all things self-care really, and help you develop your skills in mindfulness. And I want to speak for a moment to anyone out there who isn't very familiar with mindfulness or maybe is a bit skeptical about it, uncertain, and just reassure you that this video is going to provide you with a lot of basic information. If you're new to mindfulness, this is a great place to start. And I'm also going to be talking about it in a more cognitive way. And what that means is we're going to be talking about what exactly is happening when you use mindfulness. And I'm going to then encourage you at the end of the video to go through again and to try practicing it for yourself, so you also get that experiential experience of mindfulness. John Kabat-Zinn defines mindfulness as the awareness that arises from paying attention on purpose in the present moment non-judgmentally. And that's a mouthful, and there's so many little details of what exactly mindfulness is in that definition, and we're going to break it down together. In case you're wondering why anybody might want to practice mindfulness, there's a few main reasons. And for myself as a therapist, reasons that I also bring up mindfulness as a possible practice to many of my clients. For many of us, we go through our lives very quickly. We're going from one thing to the next, we're multitasking, and we don't actually spend a lot of time in the moment really noticing what's happening around us. And we might think that this is really adaptive because it allows us to get through our lives really quickly, and to a certain extent it is. However, many people that I meet in therapy say that they feel very stressed, that they feel that they don't really fully enjoy the moments of their lives, that when they do experience emotions, they're not 100% sure of what they're feeling, and they end up just reacting in some way. Whether that means they end up engaging in substance use, or maybe it's overeating, or arguing with their partner or their children. There's all different kinds of ways that our stress comes out in our lives, and developing a mindfulness practice, especially early on in therapy, is a really nice way to pause, slow down, take a step back, observe what's happening, and learn a lot about yourself and how and actually why you react the way you do in certain situations. So this is actually the reason that I'm putting this video in with my self-care series. I'm actually going to make it a self-care / DBT series, so you'll find both of those playlists on the channel, and I'll be adding to both of them over the next couple of weeks. So let's talk about mindfulness. What is it? There are several key skills that use that intentionality that John Kabat-Zinn talks about that you can practice on a consistent basis to improve your mindfulness practice. So if we were going to break down mindfulness and what actually happens, we break it down into two categories. We break it down into two main skill areas: what you're doing and how you're doing it. Anytime I talk about mindfulness, I like to have a prop or something that's actually physically present because we're talking about something that's so abstract and hard to really wrap our hands around. So for this video, I'm actually including one of my houseplants. We're going to be using this as our prop to describe both the what skills and the how skills of mindfulness. The first what skill is to observe. So what I would do is I would place this plant out in front of me so that it's at a distance, and I would begin observing it. And this observe skill includes wordless watching. So just noticing what this plant looks like and observing that it's even in my presence. Essentially, I'm noticing that it is here in this present moment and letting go of any of the external distractions that might be around me. Within this observation, I'm going to notice things that are happening internally as well as externally to myself using all 5 of my senses. Now, this doesn't 100% fit with observing a plant the way I have it here now, and it might be a better fit when you're thinking of, doing a body scan, which I'll talk about a little bit later, or trying to notice the emotions that you're feeling. But what I can apply to this is I can notice with my 5 senses what I see, what I smell, what I feel, what I hear, and what I taste, which I'm not going to taste my plant, but you get the idea. Now, a very common concern that pops up for people when they're first practicing mindfulness is that they recognize that they have a lot of thoughts that just pop into their mind automatically. And I've heard people before, and this was even myself when I first started practicing mindfulness, that say, I must be doing this wrong. If I'm going to be practicing mindfulness properly, my mind must be completely blank, and there must be something wrong with how I'm doing this. Let me reassure you that this is actually a very normal part of practicing mindfulness. It's a part of the practice, actually, and that's what makes you human. Something that a lot of people don't notice when they're stuck in the hustle and bustle of their lives is that they actually have many automatic thoughts throughout their day, and they're just not attending to them. So when you slow things down and you start to practice mindfulness techniques, you will notice that you do have automatic thoughts. That's perfectly normal. They may be completely unrelated to the exercise that you're doing. Again, perfectly normal. And that's a part of the exercise. So again, with observing, while I'm observing my plant here, I might notice, wow, I had a thought about the laundry, or ooh, I just had a gurgle in my tummy and I wonder if I'm hungry. Those thoughts are going to pop up, and you want to observe that as well. Observe that you're having the thought, notice what it's about, and rather than holding on to it, let it go. So there's a fine balance you want to find with these thoughts. You know that they're going to pop up, and you want to allow them to come. You don't want to push any of your thoughts away or try to say, no, not now, I'm doing my mindfulness. Let them come. Just let them come. At the same time, you want to let them go. Almost like having a Teflon mind where your thoughts come in, but they slip right off and they disappear again. Your job isn't to have any control over those thoughts. They come and they go on their own, and you are a silent observer. This particular skill can really come in handy when you start to try to observe your own symptomology and what's happening for you. For example, it's not uncommon when somebody experiences anxiety that feeling is just so uncomfortable and so disruptive to being able to function in the day-to-day world that people try to stuff their feelings down. They just don't want to feel them. They kind of numb out to them and they go about their day. However, when you start to practice this observation skill within mindfulness, you'll start to notice, oh, I have a clenching in my stomach. I have a racing heart rate. And rather than placing any kind of value or meaning on that, you're just able to notice those things as things that are happening. And by not placing value on it, you're not jumping to conclusions or trying to come up with what that means, which can then actually make the anxiety worse. The next what skill is describe, and this goes along with observing. Whenever I describe this to somebody new, again, using my little plant, I like to encourage people to imagine that they are from another planet. They've never been to Earth before, so they don't know that this is a plant. They don't know that this is something that I would keep in my home and that I would water every other day and probably put a lot of love and effort into in order to keep it alive. That's a lot of meaning, and that's not what we're trying to practice right now. So we're going to imagine that we're from another world. We are coming and we are observing this thing for the first time, and we're going to try to describe it. We're putting words and we're labeling it, again, without any value to it, which can be a big moment when you realize how value-laden a lot of the words that we use are. So if I was looking at this plant and I was going to try to describe it, I could say that it's green and it has long spikes that come off of it that are pointed on the ends. And if I look really closely, I can see that there's little tiny spikes all along it. And if I touch it using one of my senses, it's cool to the touch. It's kind of sharp, doesn't have a particular smell, there's no noise coming from it, and I'm gonna opt not to taste it. So when I go back to the example of anxiety, I might notice that I have a racing heart rate, that I have a knotted stomach, that my hands feel really clammy, and I would just label all of those things. If I start going to the point though of saying, oh, I'm having a panic attack, or this must be anxiety, I don't think I can handle this is going to be a really bad experience, then I start to slip into that more emotionally based, value-laden language that isn't actually an accurate representation of what is happening in this present moment, and it's actually more future focused about what my main worries are about what could happen with these anxiety symptoms if they were to escalate. You know, the final what skill really brings to life that intentionality that John Kabat-Zinn talks about, and that is to participate. What that means is throwing yourself fully into this present moment, letting go of what could happen in the future, letting go of what has happened in the past, and being fully present right now. Now, this takes a lot of effort, and that's why it's called participating. While parts of your brain may be telling you this is too uncomfortable, don't feel this, let's avoid, let's go do something else, by being mindful, you're actually holding yourself in the present so that you can fully experience what is happening. And it also lets yourself know that I can handle what's happening in the present moment. I don't need to run in either direction, past or future, to escape this. And again, if you're doing a mindfulness meditation, maybe that means being fully tuned in to the voice that you're listening to and present with your body and what you're feeling in your body at the moment. Or in less formal forms of mindfulness, maybe that means being fully present in your dancing, fully present in washing the dishes, fully present in taking a shower. If you've ever had that experience of being in the zone, you were being mindful. When we're in the zone, we're able to let go of all the other distractions. We're letting go of the part of us that might be feeling self-conscious otherwise. We're judging ourselves. And like I said before, we're fully feeling all of our emotions, even the more unpleasant ones that our brain is telling us to run away from. And again, you might be wondering, why am I wanting to stay present with these unpleasant emotions? And the answer is, when we run away from the emotions that we're experiencing, we're not able to learn from them. We're not able to learn what our triggers are, how we personally react to those unpleasant emotions physiologically, what we think about these emotions. And so by practicing mindfulness, even just around our emotional states, we learn so much about ourselves that provides us with such valuable information about what we're needing in that moment and what we can then do to help ourselves. So now that we've discussed what we do, it's time to talk about how we actually do this mindfulness thing. First on our list of how skills is not judging. You can be the most unjudgmental, accepting person and you still judge. It's the way your brain was designed to help you very quickly make a decision about a situation, to take in the information and decide what the best route is. So as I talk about not judging yourself, try not to judge yourself when you judge. It happens. You want to notice the observable facts. You want to notice it without judging it. I'm not looking at the plant saying, this is ugly, or wow, look at these leaves right here, they're dead. So one is to watch your tone and noticing the tone of your internal dialogue, and also noticing those automatic thoughts that are going to pop up whether you like it or not. And if you notice any judgment coming up, ask yourself, okay, how can I switch that to a non-judgmental observation? It is okay in these moments to notice both the helpful and the unhelpful aspects of a situation or a feeling that you're having, but by withholding that judgment, you're actually allowing yourself to see the full picture without reacting, allowing yourself to have some time to respond. By using neutral descriptions and cutting out that judgment, you actually take the volume of whatever that situation is down many notches. Rather than escalating the situation by adding your judgment and your interpretation of the event to it, which then might actually escalate things, you're able to actually bring the emotional tone down in that situation, which gives you a lot more space to be able to respond in a way that feels genuine and authentic to your personal goals and the person that you want to be. Another how skill is to stay focused. Our culture seems to be obsessed with multitasking, thinking that we should be able to be at the ultimate level of productivity. Unfortunately, this has been found to not be true. The more things we take on, the more ways we try to split our mind and our attention, the less productive we are, and we're more prone to mistakes. So we want to stay focused, and it's called being one mindfully. And that might take some effort on your part to slow yourself down when you notice that your mind really wants to go to other topics or other distractions within your environment. So if you find yourself in a moment where you're multitasking, stop. Do one thing at a time. This is a simple way to incorporate mindfulness into your everyday life. Wash the dishes and just wash the dishes. Have a conversation with your family member and just have that conversation. Turn off the TV and just be together. Staying focused also helps you keep the past and the present urges from getting in the way. And the final how skill is doing what works. Now, doing what works is going to be different for everybody because it's going to be whatever works specifically for you in your unique situation. And take this as a learning opportunity. The more you practice mindfulness, the more you're going to notice that different things work and other things don't, and learn from those experiences. Recognize that in situations where emotions have overridden your decision making and you've maybe acted out before you've really had time to think about it or be very mindful about what's happening, that the result typically isn't great. Sometimes we regret things we say or things we do, and at that point, once it's done, it's difficult to reverse things, and it takes a lot of time for sometimes other people to forgive us or even us to forgive ourselves. So by doing what works, it essentially means playing by the rules, knowing that when I act out on my emotions in the moment impulsively, that doesn't work out well for me. So I want to play by these rules, and I want to slow things down. I want to give myself some time to digest what I'm feeling so that I can be more effective and I can be more genuinely who I am rather than reacting to every emotion that I'm feeling. Once you get the hang of mindfulness a little bit more, you can start using it in your decision making and in your self-care practice. So by knowing what works for you, you can then act skillfully in the moment, pulling in different things that you've learned, which hopefully you're going to stay tuned for future videos, and you're going to learn a whole lot of skills that you're going to be able to use in these moments, but you'll be able to pull those in and use them. You're going to be able to be of one mind, and you're going to be focused, and you're going to be able to be neutral and say, what is a good decision for me in this moment based on all the facts that I know, rather than jumping and reacting based on emotion. Or if you tend to push emotions away, you'll be able to dig out those emotions and really feel them and acknowledge what it is you're needing and what need those emotions are trying to tell you about. We know that shoulding all over yourself doesn't help anybody, and shoulds go along with judgment. So by doing what works, we're letting go of that. We're letting go of the tendency we have to say, I should be doing this, or I should be doing that, or maybe even reacting based on the evaluation that we're making if we're struggling with that non-judgment. So when you're practicing mindfulness, try to remind yourself in that moment of what typically works for you, that choosing to be in this moment is going to provide you with valuable information. It's going to help you slow down the situation, and then you'll be able to respond based on so much more information. So if you've gotten this far in the video, I hope that you have a better understanding of mindfulness with using both the what and the how skills. If you have any questions about either of these categories of skills, leave me a comment in the comment section down below. Let's talk about mindfulness and how we practice these skills in our own lives. And now that you know a little bit about mindfulness, maybe you're wondering, how do I practice mindfulness now? How do I make this a part of my life? I know you've heard me mention his name earlier in this video. John Kabat-Zinn was a professor at the University of Massachusetts Medical School, and he was one of the big people in North America who brought mindfulness over from Eastern cultures and recognized the great amount of stress that North American people are under. So he combined mindfulness and traditional methods of helping people cope with stress and actually found amazing results. So John Kabat-Zinn is actually one of my favorite guided meditation narrators, and you can find his meditations both paid if you look on Amazon or even iTunes. You can buy his MP3 recordings digitally, or you can also buy CDs online. And a lot of his meditations are available for free online on YouTube. So I'm going to provide some links in the description box down below with some of my favorite guided meditations by John Kabat-Zinn. A personal fave, and I think a great place to start because it's rather benign, is with the body scan. And before you get started, please know that this body scan is a 28 to 30 minute recording that it takes some time to get through. And for some people that might go by really quickly, and other people you might find that it's harder for you. Start with just a little bit. Start with 5 minutes, set a timer for yourself, and give it a try. What I personally like about his recordings is that he has a very soothing voice, and I don't find it difficult for myself to focus on my body while I'm listening to his instructions. He then has a series of other guided meditations which you can also find online. And that's a more formal way of practicing mindfulness. The other way to practice mindfulness is really to get in your body at any point of the day, in any of your daily activities. Anytime that you can really get into your 5 senses, you're using mindfulness. This might mean using mindfulness as you're going for a walk outside, paying close attention to the sensations of your feet on the ground as you take your steps, the feelings of the breeze on your face, the sound that the wind makes, the sound of cars around you, any scents that you smell in your environment, images that you see as you walk, and maybe something you taste in the air or the lingering flavor of something you've had to drink or eat earlier in the day. But it doesn't have to be complicated, it doesn't have to be expensive, and it's a really great way to start practicing mindfulness. So in a future video, I am going to be covering what mindfulness actually does for our brains and why it's so helpful. Watch this video, know that it's helpful, know that there's lots of research, and you can do that research on your own if you can't wait for that video to come out. But I will be covering the benefits, the actually scientifically based research that's out there on the benefits of mindfulness so that you can learn more about it as well. If you'd like to see that video, leave a comment for me in the comment section down below so that I'll know to prioritize it and put it at the top of the list of the videos that I'm working on. I'm so excited to hear about how you start to incorporate mindfulness into your life, so don't be a stranger to the channel. Leave me some comments and I'll be happy to have a chat with you. Watch the other videos. I have a few. One on starting your self-care journey, which if you've just watched this video, that's a great follow-up. So I'm going to leave a link for that in the description box down below. And have a look at my other playlists, because I feel that mindfulness is a topic that anyone coming to this channel can really relate to and find some value in. However, I've got videos on different topics, from anxiety to eating disorders to relationships. So have a look and find what fits for you. And I'm so happy to have you here. I'll see you in the next video.